Okay, so I've been great pleasure again. Ricky's going to join us with the live audience behind us. Who are going to give us a nice big clap. Nice clap. Yeah, nice clap. Both Ricky and Sam have been with us all day today, and we've got to a point now where we're going to do some questions with Ricky. We've just had Sam, so depending on which one you're watching, whether you're watching Ricky's one first or Sam's, we both agreed before we start our one, there were some bits in Sam's that were quite moving, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm quite lucky I know Sam's story.
Yeah,
we've been friends for a long time now, but he never really told it to anyone else, so it was a bit of an exclusive here.
Yeah. Okay, so I checked that out because the room went hushly silent for some sections of that, and it was a really insightful look into Sam's past.
Yeah, sure.
Well, let's get to the humorous side of you, because you are the part of the team that is the Electrician of the Year! And you win one of these bad boys!
Yeah, one of them. Half an award, really, because...
Half an award. Why is it half an award?
You know, because obviously you enter these competitions. I won it through the work I've done for starting a union for self-employed workers and for the podcast.
So you did all that on your own, did you, all that work?
Always been a joint venture, as you know, guys.
Joint venture with who?
Yeah, Sam.
Who's this Sam character?
Sam, well, I don't know. Once you see him, you never miss him, will you? It's, no, you know, it's always been half a thing. I've always said it. You know, I was the one that won the award, just because we've seen Sam's time on The Apprentice wall. He's a terrible electrician. Yeah. But I done it. Yeah, I was the one that went for it, but really for the reasons that I won the award, it was a joint venture. It always has been effort we've done, apart from being electricians, we've never actually worked together, believe it or not.
So you don't work together?
No, never been on the tools together, me and Sam.
So let's take that story back then. So how did you meet Sam then?
I met Sam, if people who listen to the podcast would know, but we was having an argument on WhatsApp about unions, and I was moaning about how bad one particular union was. Sam was part of that union at the time. And then it transpired that union was bad.
Right, okay.
Sam got chucked out for arguing a fair point to the union, and then we got talking and moved with the EWB, Electrical Workers Branch, which was Sam's idea that I got on board with, and we developed it together. Yeah, and that's an incredible amount of work, incredible amount of time beyond the scenes. Yeah, absolutely insane. Yeah.
But that wasn't enough for you, just to create a union for the electrical industry and all the hassle that went with that. You then decided with Sam, who's now one of your best mates, or would you class him as your best mate?
Yeah, no, he's my best mate now.
You could have buried him again there, couldn't you?
Yeah, no, listen.
About 8th on the list.
You know, it's as you get older, your circle of friends gets smaller and smaller and smaller. When you have kids, it gets smaller. When you get married, it gets even smaller.
And when you have 4 kids?
When you have 4 kids, it gets like, microscopic. But funnily enough, since I've known Sam, he's got married. I was at his wedding. I have to show some pictures of his wedding, which his wedding suit was...
was it Bobby Dazzle?
I'd say it was special.
Okay.
And since then, he's become a dad as well. So we're both pretty much on the same page now, so it helps. So everything, we've got a lot in common. We've got work in common, we've got family in common. So yeah, we have kind of become best friends, yeah.
And then you took it on to do the podcast series. Something probably new. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the first podcast ever to be invented and all the rest of it, but to be focused in the electrical industry and consistent with your content, which I think is always the dream ticket, not to do 2 or 3 fantastic podcasts, leave it for 9 months and then come out with another one and leave it again. You actually set about putting out a series of podcasts, going through the industry, picking off those key and important figures within it.
Yeah, sure.
That's been quite refreshing to our industry, I would suggest.
Yeah, I mean, it's catching on.
It is catching on.
I'm sure people are doing them now.
There is a few people doing them, yeah?
Yeah, so we was as far as I'm aware, we was the first sort of mainstream podcast in the UK. I know a few other people are doing them now, but we mixed it. We're quite technical, obviously, we're electricians. As electricians, you're technical people, but we don't really focus down on that. We focus more on keeping it light-hearted, getting the right guests on, but also tackling issues that are really quite simple.
But you don't swerve many things though in those. You know, when you're having people like Derek on talking about, you know, compliance and registration within the electrical industry, when you're having people technically minded within there, you're not swerving any of the big questions. It's also fun as well. I do like the fun elements that you have in there and your quick fire questions, etc. It's really good. Yeah,
I think the important thing is because there's 2 of us, it's very easy to bounce back and forward and have different views on things. We try and pick topics that divide us a little bit. So we can focus on that, but obviously, you see some of the guests, we've had really technical guests and we keep up with them. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And you're obviously in different rooms when you're doing this. I take it you're at home and Sam's at home.
Different counties, yeah.
Because we sometimes get the what I call the Australian moment. Where, are you there, Sam?
Yeah.
Yes, Ricky. You come back and
every episode. No, it's actually, you know, the connection there, it allows us to do it. You know, the internet's all right now. Skype is half stable most of the time.
And you've now volleyed those out on YouTube, so something else. So you've gone, create a union, create a podcast series is really good. Now have a go at YouTube as well. Yeah, I mean, YouTube isn't our forte, it's got to be said. With our content is terrible, but obviously doing a podcast every couple of weeks is one thing, and then going on YouTube. Obviously, we're both still on the tools. I think that's why the podcast is so popular, because a lot the people that listen are on the tools with us. Yeah, and they're driving down the car, they're on the train. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, from my point of view, especially for my technological phobia, we can play your podcast on YouTube, and I quite like the fact we can just play them on the way through. So I'm glad you volleyed them onto YouTube. I'm not good at finding things on podcasts and downloading it, etc. So that's quite a hefty journey you've had in such a short space of time. Yeah. I mean, it's been maybe 2.5 years, maybe 3 years now we've been doing this sort of stuff. The podcast launched in April, I think, and obviously less than 12 months, we're coming up to 10,000 downloads, which is pretty impressive for us. Which, when we started, we didn't know what it was going to be. We just had an idea. And can you let us know who the next one is? You've told me off camera. I can. Actually, the next actual episode is me and Sam having an interview roundup. Okay. The next guest people are going to hit, depending on when this goes out. Yep. I don't know when this is going out, but I think it'll be David Savory. So the last podcast we've done was Dan from DSS. Yes. But the time this goes out, that will be out. Yes. Then it'll be me and Sam, and then David Savory. Yeah. We've had both of them through this workshop, and two different characters, but two tremendously lovely gentlemen. And the guys that are in here with us now, unfortunately, there's no girls in here today, but we absolutely thoroughly enjoyed them in all different ways. The super technology that Dan brought in from DSS with his kinetic switches, and he turned on a water fountain at his local wholesaler, etc. Absolutely fun. David Savory, obviously comedy gold. To hold him on camera for all our videos where he didn't slip into... Hang on. No, just... Is it Dave or is it David? Because you're allowed to call him Dave, aren't you? Apparently so. You're the only person, aren't you? It's David. I've only ever known as David. I mean, I've only met Dave. I've only met Dave once. I met him at Construction Week. And we've spoken a few times, but obviously... You and Dave, Yeah, Dave. Me and Dave, we're like that. We worked in McDonald's together. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, he's still got the app. Yeah, we've still got that. Both got it. It's good. No, and when you did that in your podcast, I was like, oh wow, I've never heard anyone call him Dave. And then you sort of dug yourself in and out of the same hole, and then Sam volleyed in as well. Yeah. I like that. So no, we're a massive fan of both of those, and we appreciate what they're doing on YouTube. And now you can appreciate how difficult it is, can't you? Having done a few YouTube videos yourself, it's absolutely not an easy journey, is it? I mean, I think obviously I know you've got Nick Bundy coming in January, and if you watch his videos. I would say I've got kids around, got my wife, got a greyhound, like a horse running around my house. And it's hard to get video content out, but Nick manages it. So really, I've got no excuse. I need to get better. Yeah, and he's in, and I think in February we've got Jordan from Artisan Electric. So that completes our series of videos for us as well here. So yeah, sure. It was great to obviously you accept our invitation to come in, because again, just for the camera, there is no money to come to our college. We're not paying your wages today, are we? No money. Did we reimburse you the fuel in your vehicle to get here today? No, unfortunately not. Okay, so you've again come to give it away for the learners of this college. But I've nicked a load of your cable, mate. You didn't see that. You went to the car. No worries. Doncaster Cable have been very kind donating cable to us. They're kind as well, yeah. They're good people. So we've done some stuff with Super Rod, and you've been involved with the Ferret on another video that you can see with us, and you've also shown us what looks like the most incredible Star Wars weapon, which is actually a fancy drill in another video. Sure, the heaviest drill. The heaviest drill. Yeah, I didn't find it hard to lift it around at all. No, I don't think you did. You've done it well. Yeah. Stole it out. Yeah, stole it out. So we'd just like to thank both yourself and Sam for coming in. We're going to open this up to Q&A in the audience, and we'll just pause it. Just give us a second. We're going to pause it, and we're actually going to go live mic for your Q&A. So let's see what comes out of the rest of it. So we're just going to cut now for our Q&A. Okay, so Ricky's now going to take some questions from the audience. They'll shout their question. I'll repeat it for you, Ricky, so we can hear it nice and clear for you to answer. I'm an old man. Okay, so we'll go with that. So let's have a hand up if you've got a question for me. So over here, question. What inspired you to get into the electrical industry? So his question was, what inspired Ricky to get into the electrical industry? Yeah, and the honest answer is nothing. I was 25 when I started as an electrician. And before that, I was working in Sainsbury's. Before that, I was an asbestos supervisor. So I have quite a range. I've done a lot of jobs. I've been a postman, worked in a chicken factory, packing meat, all sorts of stuff. So the girl I was with at the time, her dad knew someone that had an electrical business. He was in the pub saying how great his business was going. It's going really good, really brilliant. We're looking to take people on. My name come up. He rang me up. He didn't know that I was in the pub 2 doors from my house. So I went into the pub. My ex-boss, to be fair, went very quiet, but was kind of forced to take me on. So I was hired to be working in the shop. They had a shop at the front, like loading up vans and stuff. I said, look, I really want to make something of this. I had a guy called City, my mentor.
He sees something in me, he put me forward for it, done my apprenticeship. It's kind of last chance saloon for me. So being 25, it was either do this, get a trade, or I've end up working in a warehouse for the rest of my life, or Sainsbury's. There's nothing wrong with working in Sainsbury's, don't get me wrong, you've got to put food on the table, and that's what I was doing, but it's much better to have a trade. So that's how I got into it. So yeah, I never grew up inspiring to be a electrician. I actually wanted to be in the army. I tried that, didn't really work out. And after that, not like that gentleman over there that made it work for himself. But yeah, I tried that, it didn't work out for me. So yeah, I just made the best of a situation that was presented to me.
To be changing career age 25 with all that life experience behind you, that can probably resonate with one of our learners here. We've got Will, who's actually transferred into our second year apprenticeship framework, having done an evening course. And of course, he's in with those younger learners. How did you find it, age 25, with all that life experience, going in with learners, say, of 16 and 17 years old?
Yeah, to be fair, my college was 18. So you had to have a secure apprenticeship. I've done it with JTL. So everyone had an apprenticeship. So yeah, everyone was 18. But yeah, it was obviously vastly different. But it was interesting because you see people grow up. So you see, obviously, when you start college, people are 18, and when you leave, everyone's 21, except me. I was 28. But yeah, I did very well in school. I got bullied quite bad in school, which no one ever believes because they look at me now. But when I was at school, I never stuck up for myself. So bullies would pick on me all the time. Okay, so when I hit about 16, I went completely off the rails, and I still am now. I can't handle a bully. I struggle a little bit to be told what to do at times because it takes me back to that. Because of that, I never went to school for the last 2 years. So I left, went in the army, done all of that. And then, yeah, when I started going to college, it was like the years I'd missed almost. Don't get me wrong, there were times when I had to do a site safety poster, get my colouring pencils out. What's going on here? You know, this is insane. But most of it, after that first year, the sort of the second and third, when you're getting technical, it was good. And I found it interesting. Maybe because I was a little bit older, and like I've said, it was the last chance saloon for me. I really took it on board. Sort of the design aspect of it that you do, I found really interesting.
That's really good. So thank you for the question. So anyone else got a question out in the audience, please just raise your hand. So question over there.
What was your key to success?
What was your key to success? That's an open question with a massive answer, no doubt.
Yeah, and it's really, really simple. And you had a guest. Who was the guest? You've just done videos, actually. I can't, sorry.
Chris from CJR Shop?
I think it was.
Yeah.
He said about not having your phone in your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, good lad.
Right, so as you get older...
just look up there.
Things, yeah, that's a brilliant example about having your phone in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, when you're on site, I spent the first 2 years of my apprenticeship designing Schneider panels for petrol stations and stuff like that. So when you first go onto site, you need to find something that you're good at and you're comfortable with, and generally someone everyone else hates doing. So for me, it was DBs. So I'd always be the first one on site and go and find a three-phase panel that needed wiring and wire it. So when you go on site, you don't feel useless. You don't feel like you've constantly got to ask someone, how do I do this? What do I need for this? Bother someone's drill, do that. Get something you're comfortable with and then focus on that job so you actually become useful to the team. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with being on your phone. I'm on my phone quite a lot, but get your work done first. You know, don't be on your phone when someone else is working next to you. You're meant to be helping them, but there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than that. And I've had big arguments with people where I've been on top of towers. Someone's meant to be passing me something up, and every time I look down, he's on his phone. I throw my eye at him normally. That's really winds me up. But yeah, there's a time and a place for being on your phone, but that is a biggie. If you're not the one working, which you're not as an apprentice, generally you're helping someone. You've got to always be thinking quicker than they're thinking. So what do they need next? Wire plug, screw, drill. Never give someone a drill without a screw in it. Never give them an empty drill. Or an unloaded drill, we call it. You know, so you always got to be thinking for them. Doing a bit of trunking. What do I need next? What do I need cut? This, that. Should be thinking ahead. That's actually more important than doing the job, is being the guy that's passing them the stuff, because you can make someone's life so much easier. And it won't always be a quicker way of doing it either. But if you're making someone's life easier, that works. And yeah, that's it really. And always doing your CPD, your continual professional development, that helps. And even to when I done it sort of 9 years ago now, there's so many YouTube creators and so much content to do. Watch one video a day and upskill. And like Sam said as well, pick something that you really enjoy. Like obviously you've got domestic, commercial, industrial, but it goes so much further than that still. And try and get on with that.
Yeah, very good. Great question as well.
Yeah,
simple
that was a good question.
Great answer. So anyone else got a question for me then? So at the top, nice and loud.
What inspired you to try and become Electrician of the Year?
So what inspired you to try and become the Electrician of the Year? I didn't realise you'd won that award. Did you beat Sam into second place of the Electrician of the Year?
Yeah, well, Sam went even in the running, mate, to be fair.
Wasn't he hot?
So it started off as a thing to kind of see how much of a social media presence puts you in the spotlight, and it does, because obviously, generally the people that win these awards is someone that's already known in the industry in some way. So a brilliant example of this is a lady called Katie Smith. She's a bricklayer. She's won about 20 awards over the last 2 years. She wins every single award because she's a brilliant bricklayer, don't get me wrong, but companies generally want you to promote them. So tell you, if you've got a social media presence, a brilliant example, we done Fixed Radio, and the 2 people that are up for the award that were actually there on the day was me and James Beck, so a podcast creator and a YouTube creator. And it's because it gets promotion, and it's unfortunate, but that is generally the way it is. No award is ever done by a company where they pick peers. So it'd be me judging you or something like that. But what really inspired me was not to become Electrician of the Year at all. It was to see what happens. What's the process of actually winning an award like this? So I was self-nominated, because once you see the form, no one's going to nominate you. There were so many questions. You had to send pictures of your working and stuff. And then obviously, like I say, it was kind of to see how much of a social media presence made a difference. And then I went straight to the final. There wasn't much of a process. I don't even know who judged it. It's Schneider Electrical on the trophy, but you don't even know that much. But yeah, it was kind of to see if you've got a social media presence, does that have a massive effect on who wins it? And it does. And it's not something I actually agree with. And that's why I don't really push my award massively. Everyone else talks about it, but it don't actually mean as much to me as perhaps it should. But it's a big thing. Electrician of the Year, great. But unless you know you've been judged by your peers, so I've got Gary coming out and judging my work, that means something to me. At the moment, I sent in some pictures of my work. Obviously, the main reason for winning it was starting a union and starting a podcast. I can take that, because that was something we've done, and that's how it means to me. But honestly, it'd mean a hell of a lot more if it was people that were judging my work on, because Electrician of the Year, you're better than every other electrician. How many electricians entered? I don't know, 10, 20, 30, I don't know. But yeah, that's what inspired me really, just to enter it and see, social media.
Look at the process, see whether,
absolutely, yeah.
That's good. There was a young man down here with his hand up just a minute ago. Is your name, please, sir?
Michael.
So Sam's going to ask the question now. So
Sam Michael.
How influential was meeting Sam in your success?
So you and Sam met each other, and would you say that was instrumental in the rocketing of the success story of young Ricky?
No, I actually think I'd be a lot better off now if I stuck on the path I was on. No, you know what? Listen,
that's a common theme with me and Joe, because Joe's often said that he believes his path has been diverted from success since he's had to join my path.
The Riddle Master, Master Joe. Listen, because I met Sam, I went down a very different path. My goal was always to sort of just find a company, work my way up through that company, and then find my success that way. But obviously, I went self-employed. That's when me and Sam met, and there was a lot of troubles with the industry. There still is. None of them troubles have been solved. It's still going on. And we went down a different path, and it changed the person I am today for sure in the industry. I think it's
parallel story with you there.
Changed Sam as well,
I think I've changed knowing Joe. So Joe wouldn't agree with me, but I think I've changed. So last question now. So I'll take one more question before we end this part of Ricky's work with us today. So one more hand in the air. So nice and loud at the top, Liam.
What made you start a podcast?
So what made you go from obviously creating a union to doing a podcast series? What was the turning point where you and Sam obviously, it must have been your idea, and Sam came along for the ride, as you said many a times before, being Electrician of the Year. So,
so I think obviously the union was very much Sam's idea, whereas the podcast was, it's both of our ideas, but I was the one sort of done the research and we got it moving together. But I like to think I'm more influential in the podcast. It's my podcast. Sam's just a guest on it. We know that. We know how it works. No, I'm only joking. What made me start a podcast? So obviously we started a union for self-employed electricians. The biggest problem with this industry is 99% of electricians are only out for themselves. No one ever wants to work together. No one wants to come together. That means the companies pretty much own you. No one stands up to go against them. You get a bad rate when you're self-employed. So on and so forth. We know companies write the rates, they work with the JRB. It goes quite deep into it. But we started the union to really try and educate people. And because people didn't really get behind it like they should have done, we thought we'd do the podcast to try and get our message across and actually educate people, which we have done with great success. Like I say, we're coming up to 10,000 downloads since April. So the message is definitely getting out there. That's really why we started it. Just we thought we could reach more people in a better way to spread our message and try and educate people into staying away from the problems in the industry, and there is a lot.
Well, let's fully entertain people in there as well, because it is educational, but it's also fun to listen to, and I think that's why you get so many listeners.
You've got to keep people listening. Yeah, if it's not entertaining, then people just switch off. Yeah. You know, and it's a source of entertainment. Certainly more now.
Thank you very much. Let's give him one. Come on.
Thank you.